What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're talking about the Master League. And I know I don't really talk too much about the Master League, but this is something kind of special that I thought was interesting to show for you guys, and that is 100% IV Genesect that I picked up a few months ago when Burn Drive was in. So this is Burn Drive Genesect. We are running Fire Techno Blast and Magnet Bomb, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of spicy. You don't really see this thing getting used or talked about. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to build this thing because I had enough XLs after raiding all those Genesect every time the different forms have come in, shiny hunting for them and whatnot. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Max this thing out. Let's give it a go. And you know what, it's quite an interesting pick, I think, for sure. It's definitely not the weakest thing on this team. I say not the weakest. It is by stat product by a substantial margin compared to most of the level 50 legendaries going around. In fact, it's the same CP as a level 40 Metagross, a level 50 Genesect, so it does not have particularly good stat product, but it's typing these moves on it. It does do fairly well. It's not useless. Honestly, I think that Garchomp on this team is actually the letdown, which I was kind of surprised to find, but I just kept running into Togekisses. And obviously, as we all know, Togekiss absolutely shuts down Garchomp unless you're running Fire Blast, which we are not. On our Garchomp, we're running Mudshot, the Community Day move, Earth Power, and then Outrage. And to bulk out the team, because Garchomp can feel a little squishy at times, and also Genesect is pretty squishy, we're bringing Lugia, the bulkiest boy. It's also one of the only level 50 legendaries I've got to add that bulk. We're running the Legacy move, Aeroblast. So I figured, you know what, it's a bit of a spicy lineup compared to what you normally see in the Master League, which is normally just walls of level 50 legendaries. It's your Kyogres, your Groudons, your Mewtwo's, your Dialga especially, stuff like that. And I was like, well, let's go for something that's a bit outside the box. And I had a lot of fun with it. It's early season as well. We're not stressing too much. We're currently around the 2,000, 2,100 ELO rating point. And this team does drag us up a little bit. Like we go slightly more positive than we do negative. I'm going to show you guys some of the more interesting games we've had with it, and you can see how Genesect plays as well as how it pairs with Lugia and Garchomp, and you can see whether you think it's something you want to build if you do come across a perfect Burn Drive Genesect, or maybe even you could see how it could play and get a rough idea if you had Ice Techno Blast or Water Ice Techno Blast or Electric Techno Blast, you know, whatever the other typings are. Give them a go yourself. I know this is a triple legacy team with Garchomp and Lugia and Genesect all having a legacy move on them. That's just what the Master League is in a lot of ways. A lot of the Pokemon are running legacy moves. Mewtwo, you want Side Strike and or Shadow Ball. Groudon and Kyogre. Well, Groudon, you're going to want Precipice Blades. You know, you just can't really get away from it in the Master League as easily as in other leagues. And it is where it is. But Garchomp, you can swap out Earth Power for Sand Tomb and maybe give it Dragon Tail as a fast move instead, just for a bit more consistent fast move pressure. If you want Lugia, I do not recommend running without Aeroblast. And Genesect, if you've got a good one, you know, build whatever type you have, if you've got a good one, and then you probably want to adjust your teammates accordingly. So, like, I felt like Lugia and Garchomp would pair with the Fire Techno Blast coverage, personally. But if you've got a different type Techno Blast, you might want a different, some different pairings with it to give better coverage overall. Now, these battles are going to be sped up a little bit less than my usual Go Battle League matches in these videos because, honestly, Master League battles go pretty quick compared to Ultra League and Great League, especially with just massive charge moves being thrown around. So, Dragonite lead. This is better for you if you've got Ice Techno Blast, obviously, because you get to it surprisingly quick, those Techno Blasts. But, you know, we're going to go for Magnet Bombs anyway. They're going to debuff themselves with a superpower, and this still wouldn't take them out. Does a big chunk of damage to them, but wouldn't KO. But it's going to pressure a shield out of them. And something to think about with Genesect as well is, if you've ever played against one in Go Battle League, you can't tell easily what typing it is. You've got to really get a good look across the screen at your opponent's Pokemon to try and figure out what drive their Genesect's even got. So they might not be able to see easily that we're Burn Drive. So they might have been expecting a potential Chill Drive Ice Techno Blast and just felt a blast shield up anyway, and if they knew they could survive the Magnet Bomb. But, by the by, Dragonite isn't a bad lead. I recommend you stay in, shield up if they do build up to the superpower, and then just go for the Magnet Bombs, because they choose to swap out into a Zacian, where, like, you know what, screw it, we'll stop in, hit them with the super effective Magnet Bombs, do some big damage, and see what they decide to do. They're going to throw a close combat into Lugia. We were hoping they wouldn't make it to a Wild Charge, which I guess they didn't have. They must have had Moonblast as well that they weren't quite going to make. So all shields are down. Let's get an Aeroblast on this Kyogre. Won't KO, but we'll get them pretty damn low, almost KO. Then in the back, the Dragonite comes in. We're going to survive this Dragon Claw. Shields are down. We're going to get to an Outrage and absolutely ruin this Dragonite stay. Then we should be fine to Mudshot down the Kyogre before they get to moves or anything like that. And it's going to be a good game. One good thing about this team is it really capitalises on when you've got shield advantage or you just get shields down on the opponent. Unless you get Garchomp lined up with the Togekiss, it's going to threaten pretty much everything else in Master League with those huge hitting earth powers and outrages. Right, Groudon lead, awful, because Fire Punch is gonna one-shot you. It's double super effective. Groudon's a monstrous stat product. It's gonna hit you like a truck. So we tried to catch on Lugia, which we're able to pull off, and now they're gonna bring in Dialga. We go straight for the Aero Blast. We want shields, or we want big damage. We get the damage, and this means we can actually completely farm down this Dialga at this point and get switch advantage. It's worth giving up a shield for if we want to, which we're gonna do here. Yeah, I think we might as well. It's worth it for switch advantage. They could have thrust on Draco Meter and taken us out really, but that was their mistake. We're gonna capitalize on it. Go straight for the Sky Attack on Groudon, start chipping them down. Gonna get another shield out of him. That's fantastic. Not another shield, sorry, the first shield out of him. They're gonna struggle to Mudshot us down, but they are committing to it. And this is gonna bring them with a ton of energy when we bring Garchomp in. But Garchomp can take a Precipice Blades from Groudon if they do decide to throw it. We've now got shield advantage because the Groudon shields twice. This is looking not too bad for us. The Groudon's approaching Magnet Bomb range as well for Genesect, so we've got the potential to really round this game out here. They try and bait us with a Fire Punch, we don't fall for it. Now we're going to shield up the Precipice Blades. That's fantastic for us. Togekiss comes in. We've got energy loaded on Genesect from pulling off the catch in the start of this match. 2 Magnet Bombs take out Togekiss very, very comfortably. It is not worth going for Fire Techno Blast. Instead, it might be worth going, if you've got Shock Drive or you've got Ice Drive, you're probably both going for that move, and it probably either one-shots them or puts them in farm down range, but 2 Magnet Bombs does the job just fine. We've got the excess energy, go for the Fire Techno Blast, which will finish off the Groudon, and that's going to give us a good game. That is a big drawback of this team, is that Genesect has to be absolutely terrified of a single fire move. Garchomp is super scared of the fairies and the ice. So it kind of puts you into a back corner. So like here, another Groudon lead. Super scary. Can we catch a Fire Punch on Lugia again? We do. Right. This is the only chance we really get in these matches. If we can get the energy advantage, redistribute their energy where we want them to throw it, and hopefully twist that round into a win condition as the game continues to play out. So Lugia comes into meters. Lugia mirror match. We're ahead on energy. They're ahead on health. They showed up the Aero Blast. We don't boost. This isn't looking too hot for us. It's probably worth shielding up. They're probably going to go straight for the Aero Blast as well. We're going to struggle to flip this matchup, but we want to pressure them to shield again, because getting shields down really is the way that we want to push our way through the end game on this match, assuming that we don't get a Togekiss lined up with Garchomp. We decide to try and snipe down the Lugia with Genesect. Not really sure what we were thinking here, but we just take an Aero Blast, get absolutely wrecked. We get the Magnet Bomb off on Lugia though, just to finish it off. And maybe we were just thinking, you know what, let's just sack Genesect off here, protect some health on Lugia, and then redistribute, because we knew we weren't getting switch advantage in that matchup. So why not just sack the Genesect to absorb all that energy from the opposing Lugia and see what we can do with it. So Groudon comes in, throws another Fire Punch at us, and we're going to go for Sky Attack. We might get a shield here, we might not, because they've probably, if they've been counting, they know it's not Aero Blast. They don't, we get the shield. Okay, Garchomp's time to shine. Is there a Togekiss in the back? Is kind of the really big scary question right now. Shield of Precipice Blades, that's amazing for us. And we're going to go straight for the Outrage. I'm not super familiar with some of these Master League matchups, so if you see me going for Outrages when I don't need to and I could go for Earth Power, you'd have to be patient with me, because some of it I'm just not super familiar with. Go for Outrage on the Mewtwo. Again, probably should go for double Earth Power instead, although that does get him pretty low. Maybe not. Maybe now we can just Dragon Tail down. Maybe if they don't have Ice Beam, we might get away with this, because they're going to have to throw 2 Side Strikes here. I think this is our game. We're going to be able to fast move down as long as they don't make it to another Side Strike. It's going to be close. We just take the win. GG. And if you're thinking, well, Genesect didn't really do much that game, you saw how well it took an Aero Blast, which is not well at all, and consider that your education from that matchup. Dialga lead, the opponent swaps out, which is kind of surprising, that quick of a decision to swap into Yveltal. They might be hoping to bait something in particular out here that Dialga can deal with. We're just going to stop in, go for Techno Blast, see how hard it hits, and then maybe swap. Nah, we should probably stop in here, yeah. Because we know we've got Garchomp that can do big damage to Dialga, thanks we've got Mud Shot and Earth Power. I was just thinking, let's just play this out, see what the opponent wants to do. We're hitting them for neutral with the Fury Cutter, since they are flying, but they're also dark, so it balances it out. And they have to throw again to take us out. Do we just take shield advantage? Yeah. Let's take the shield advantage and just depend on Garchomp to absolutely melt its way through the second half of this game. We're going to take this move, no problem whatsoever. We're just going to tank it, build up the excess energy so that we can threaten the Dialga if that wants to come in on us, or threaten anything really that wants to come in at this point. Go straight for it. This should take out a Veltal. It hits pretty damn hard. It does. What comes into meters, Dialga, and they catch an Earth Power on Giratina Origin. It's a pretty good catch on the opponent, because if we had Outrage there, we'd do massive damage to them. So the plan here, build up some excess energy on Garchomp, get close to the Earth Power again, then catch on Lugia. Catch an Ominous Wind, which is amazing. They boost. This is not looking good all of a sudden, but Lugia is a tank. This is a bad matchup for Lugia, but it can put in quite a bit of work. Let this go. So Shadow Ball takes us out. We might lose this game. It might just be that boost that's going to be too much for us, yeah. We might have been close to get to 2 Earth Powers. If the Giratina hadn't boosted, I think we'd have just brought that game back, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to take an L there, and it's a GG. Okay, next matchup, Metagross on the lead. This is a good matchup. It's good for this team in general. As long as we keep Lugia away from it, both Garchomp and Genesect do like seeing Metagross, especially Burn Drive, because watch this. Are they going to shield? Bang! Absolutely ruin Metagross's day. And this is just a Meteor Mash. They haven't got to Earthquake, and if they did, it'd do big damage, Earthquake, to be honest. It is neutral, but we know that we can... Maybe you can't take it, to be honest. Genesect is pretty squishy, but like I said, we knew it was only a Meteor Mash, so not too much pressure. They swap out into Palkia, and we can just bring in Lugia here, because they're not running... But Palkia doesn't have access to Crunch. It generally runs Aqua Tail and then something like Draco Meteor or something to that effect. So we're not feeling too much pressure, but since they built up excess energy, worth the shield. It is the Draco, and now we can just Dragon Tail all the way down. We come out with some excess energy to dump into whatever wants to follow them in. Metagross comes in with its 1 HP, gets farmed down. What's in the back? Garchomp, the opponent surrenders there, and it's a good game. They don't even want to see what we've got in the back. Nothing they could do anyway, since we had Garchomp ourselves. Some energy on our Genesect, and having that much energy and health still on Lugia, really not too much they could do there. Alright, up next we got a Zacian lead, which again is something I quite like to see against Genesect, just because you've got that Magnet Bomb, which is going to two-shot them, which Zacian normally is quite annoying to deal with, but Genesect, look at that massive damage you do there, and we're getting them close down into like farm down range from potentially like Garchomp or Lugia. You can take a close combat, and that means you can take the Moon Blast, you can take the Wild Charge. Like, you're not in too bad of a position here. We decided to try and farm down, and we get it. Since we've given up a shield, we want a ton of extra energy to dump into whatever follows it in. Dialga comes in. Here comes Fire Techno Blast. They're going to shield. They don't. Can we get to another one? We can. Are they going to shield this? If they don't, it's taking out Dialga as well. Here it comes. Boom. Dialga down. Right. One Pokemon in the back. It's Yveltal. And this is a done deal, to be honest. Like, yeah, Lugia doesn't put too much work in here. We're just trying to get to a Sky Attack, to be honest. We're just going to go for the Sky Attack as soon as we get there and see if we get a shield out of them, because that's the main advantage Garchomp really wants here, just to make it a bit more comfortable in this end game. And we do get the shield. That's completely fine. We'll let Lugia go. Garchomp, do we just go straight to 2 Outrages? And one of them should just be enough to take them out. Might be a little bit close. Yveltal's got reasonable bulk to it, but you can see it's even the Mud Shots chip away a little bit. So as long as we do like 50% with the Outrage, we should be fine. We can take 2 Dark Pulsers just, like with enough Snarls after it, they'd farm us down, but we will have time to get to 2 Outrages as long as we survive. As long as we get, yeah, we decide to catch, whatever, you know, why not? Give it a go if you've got the urge, you think you can nail it. Genesect making a nice third shield for us in a few matchups. The opponent surrenders. Good game. To be fair, not only was he a third shield, took out Zacian and Dialga as well. So Genesect really proven its worth here. This is the dream lead Togekiss lead, because that means it's not on Garchomp and you can deal with it with the Magnet Bombs. This is the safe swap from hell for this team, personally, I think, because if we had Dragon Tail on Garchomp, it'd be much more comfortable because they'd be hitting us for like the Dragon Claws and stuff, but we wouldn't be weak to the Shadow Claws because it's Shadow Claw Giratina and we've got Mudshot on Garchomp. It's just a pain in the ass. It is a really good safe swap, to be honest, and I think people sleep on it in the Master League. Altered Form Giratina. We just decided to soften it up a little bit and bring in Lugia just for the overwhelming bulk and to try and maybe keep hold of Switch. Well, let's say maybe we have to keep Switch advantage. Garchomp is going to have a nightmare against that Togekiss. Melmetal coming in, swapping in aggressively to meet us, trying to snipe us down. Is this worth a shield? It's not. Going to let Lugia go because now we know we've got Garchomp lined up with the Melmetal and we've got Genesect still to line up with the not the Giratina, sorry, the Togekiss. Giratina does still have some health left, which is kind of really, that's what's left to flip this matchup, is what Giratina can do with that health and energy it's got left. Togekiss is going to come in, we're going to swap straight to Genesect. We don't want the Togekiss to get too much energy, where it could potentially get to like flamethrowers against Genesect, because that is going to ruin Genesect's day. One Magnet Bomb off. Giratina comes in, we get to a Magnet Bomb. They're probably going to shield this because they know that the Togekiss is under a lot of pressure to get to a charge move. It's going to struggle. Now, are they going to get to 2 Shadow Sneaks, even 2 Dragon Claws? This is going to be kind of scary. And in fact, you know what? I remember this matchup, and you're going to see something quite surprising. You're going to see Garchomp put in some work here. We're going for the farm down, go for the farm down, go for the farm down. We need as much as we can get because Togekiss can survive an Earth Power. It can survive an Outrage, but you know what? Can it survive 2? It's already taken a Magnet Bomb. Going to go straight for the Earth Power, and then we're going to go for an Outrage just to bump that little bit extra damage. No, 2 Earth Powers should be fine. Looking at that chip, yeah, it's going to be absolutely fine. 2 Earth Powers, take out the Togekiss. Garchomp is an anti-Togekiss. It's a counter, confirmed. GG's. I do think that Giratina in general is probably the worst lead for this team to run into. Like I said, if you're running Dragon Tail on Garchomp, it's a little bit better for you. But overall, Giratina I think is the most difficult lead because you have to swap out. You want to swap into Lugia, and that's never a good situation to swap Lugia into Giratina on purpose. So it's messy. If you've seen a lot of Giratinas, Genesect might be better suited to you in the back of your squad, or as you say, swap or something else. But I didn't see too many Giratinas, and I was able to pivot around 1 or 2 that I did run into. This Sylveon lead, a little bit unusual for the Master League overall, but we get a Magnet Bomb off, we're going to farm them down, we've got a ton of energy. What's going to follow them in? I think we're kind of blind throwing this Magnet Bomb. What is it? It's a Giratina again. Like we said, Giratina, we don't really like it with this team, especially the altered form, because it's so bulky. Like these Magnet Bombs are not really doing too much to it, and they're going to farm us down entirely. But the same plan as usual. Bring in Lugia just to absorb it all. Like just let them just throw charge moves, throw charge moves. They're going to throw Ancient Power, which thank God they don't boost. If they throw another Ancient Power, we're not stressed. We're just going to go for the Dragon Tail down entirely, and then have an Aero Blast to dump into whatever's in the back, and that should open the way for Garchomp to finish off if we either get the shield or do big damage. So another Ancient Power, again, is pretty low at this point, and it's a Togekiss. Oh, guess we should have brought Garchomp into the Giratina. But not much we can do here. We don't have Fire Blast, and we swap in to think about, oh, we can't. It's a done deal. We're kind of just throwing energy at a wall here. It's unless you've got something else to do big chip damage to Togekiss Fire, and they shielded up the Aero Blast from Lugia. Maybe if we'd have gone for double Sky Attack and got a shield out of him, but no, that Togekiss is not in Sky Attack range. Not a shot. Like, we'd have had a decent stab at it, but not enough of a stab at it. So we're going to get charmed down. And if I know they're going to throw another move, finish us off, and that's going to be a good game. And that's one of the things I don't like about Garchomp in particular in the back, is it just gets shut down so fast by a Togekiss. It just ruins all your momentum. Right, Golden Go, bit of an unusual one, but you get to the Techno Blasts, I believe, a little bit faster than they get to Shadow Balls. Shadow Ball's going to ruin your day, so is Focus Blast. So I'm going to shield up, because this thing hits pretty hard. As long as we're timing it right and they don't sneak like a full hex worth of energy in, this isn't too bad for us. Go for the Techno Blast, get a shield, that's fine. This is, like I say, you very much keep pace with each other. They get to the moves around the same time that you do. We're just going straight for the Techno Blast. The slight amount of energy that we save from throwing a Magnet Bomb is not worth them not shielding. If they no-shield a Magnet Bomb, it really sets you back. So, we decide to take the shield advantage, spring in Garchomp. They go for the aggressive Dragonite swap-in, and we're just going to go straight for Outrage. We're not swapping out. Bang, boom, one shot, get them out of there. What they got in the back, it's a Rayquaza. We're going to bring in Lugia because we can just hang in this matchup fairly comfortably. And then we've just got Garchomp left, still with a shield to handle the Golden Go when that does come around. I believe we're just going to get some extra energy here. We're not stressing it too much. We do need to deal with this Rayquaza though, because those moves are really going to start threatening Garchomp if they do get through. Lugia, go for the Sky Attack, finish him off. And Golden Go is going to struggle to farm us down here, and they're pressured to throw because we're just going to go for Aero Blast. We want them to feel like they need to throw a move at us, which they don't actually because we are nerfed from the Breaking Swipes. Still big damage, swap to Garchomp, and now the damage is done. We shield this up, and maybe we'll get one more fast move through. Golden Go can't store 2 charge moves. Yep, jobs are good, and GG. Okay, last matchup that I'm going to show for you guys, and it's the Giratina lead, which I said this is a tough lead to deal with. The way I recommend you play this out is you swap straight to Lugia, because those Dragon Tails are going to add up as you play that matchup out. You're still tempting them to shield with like your Sky Attacks and even Aero Blast if you decide to build up that far. But Genesect, there's no pressure from the Fury Cutters, and you need that on top of like the Magnet Bombs do respectable damage, I guess, but just not enough. Like, so you're going to see here, Giratina's going to no-shield this again, because it's not at threat of being farmed down, and they're going to be able to take this matchup even though we've gone down a shield. That's how bad it is for Genesect. So you do really want to swap out of this matchup, I'd say. In general, the way we're playing it this time round is we lose the matchup, bring in Lugia to farm him down entirely, see what they've got in the back. They've got a Rhyperior, which, thank the Lord, is running Mud Slap and not Smackdown, but there's a good chance they've still got Rock Wrecker, so we're going to try and catch a Rock Wrecker on Garchomp. We're not sure if they'll run Breaking Swipe since it did get nerfed this season, but maybe, maybe not. Do we? We do catch the Rock Wrecker. Fantastic for us. That's one of the slight edges we're going to need if we are going to bring this game back. We're going to throw again, probably a Breaking Swipe now. It is. Does similar damage to the Rock Wrecker, to be honest. Mewtwo comes in and they are going to struggle to farm us down at the health range that we're at. And yes, they might have nerfed our attack with a Breaking Swipe. These moves are still going to hurt, so Mewtwo is still pressured to shield. Now, the main question on whether or not we can win this is the moveset on the Mewtwo. If it's got Shadow Ball, we're kind of screwed. If it's got Ice Beam, we're kind of screwed. It's really, we need it to have Side Strike and Focus Blast, or Side Strike and Flamethrower, I guess, or Despise. Nope, it's got the Shadow Ball. They've still got a shield advantage, so we're just going to eat absolute shit here. We're going to get wrecked by the Mewtwo. Shadow Ball's not going to quite take us out, but they've got a shield to spare. Even if we did bait them with the Sky Attack, we can't get up to an Aero Blast as well to take them out, so this is really a done deal. A matchup that we didn't get to see in this video that I think is really good. Genesect does really well against Mewtwo because it's weak to the Fury Cutters. The Magnet Bombs do like respectable neutral damage, and you resist the Side Strikes. They have to go for Shadow Balls, which is a bit slower for them, and you can shield them up. So if you get Genesect lined up with Mewtwo, stop in there. It's a good, it's a very good matchup for you. And that's Genesect. I know it's not the most try-hard Master League team, but I had a lot of fun with it. And I think it's always fun to mix up something like the Master League where a lot of people are running the same 6 Pokemon in different orientations, you know, especially early in the season when more people are trying out some different stuff. You get a few more non-legendaries in there so you can compete a bit better in stat product. Let me know what you guys think of the team and Genesect in general. Any questions, ask me down below. And I got something even spicier, I think, for the next Master League video coming up. So I'm looking forward to showing you guys that as well. Hope you're all having a fantastic week. You're all absolute legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.